So, hi, I'm Jock McKenzie from MangroveWatch. MangroveWatch is an independent community science partnership that is protecting mangroves, because mangroves are the coastal kidneys. They filter out all the sediments and nutrients that come from the agriculture and the urban environments on the land. 80% of sediment that comes down from the land can be trapped in mangrove systems. If those mangroves weren't there, all that mud and nutrients would go out onto the reef, where it would create algal growth and smother the corals, smother the seagrass. We'd lose our turtles and dugongs, we'd lose our beautiful reef habitats, and that would be really bad for a lot of people, for Cairns particularly. Mangroves are also directly threatened by climate change. Because mangroves occupy that small little space between mean sea level and the high water mark, then they're really threatened by sea level because they don't have much place to go. So as the tide rises, mangroves also want to move back, but we've built cities and farms and things behind the mangroves, so which means as the mangroves want to move up, they're blocked by human activities, and we have the process called coastal squeeze. So I'm the Director Coordinator of MangroveWatch, which means I am in charge of running the program, making sure it happens, and getting the data from the citizen scientists. They're out there collecting data, like on Trinity Inlet. People are filming the shorelines, collecting imagery data, which they send in to us, which we then analyse, make into maps, and look at the condition and health and how that changes over time. It's a whole community, and we've filmed, I think, with the community more than 1,500 kilometres of mangrove shoreline in the last couple of years. So it's a pretty great effort for citizen science. In Moreton Bay alone, around Brisbane, between 2012 and 2016, the local community there filmed 500 kilometres of shoreline of Moreton Bay. That means that every bit of Moreton Bay has a piece of imagery associated with that shoreline that they've gone back and reassessed. So now we've got this permanent record of the health of the shorelines of Moreton Bay habitats. So the whole point of MangroveWatch is to give people the tools to monitor and film the mangrove shorelines. They do that every year, and then when they send that in to us, it means that if we get an image, we have a GPS point with that image that we can look at it and see how it's changed over time. So one year might be healthy, the next year there may be a big flood or a storm, and the next year the mangroves are unhealthy. So we use this information, all the filming of the shorelines, to say where is the best spot to spend your money on conservation and restoration. So we first started in 2008 around the town of Bundaberg in the Burnett Mary region, and there I was doing my PhD research, looking at how the effects of agriculture and the catchment impact the mangrove ecosystem in the estuary. And as I was doing that, I thought, there's a lot of mangroves here, and I'm doing a lot of work, and there's a lot of people excited about mangroves in this area. They're concerned about mangroves, they like fishing, they like the health of the river, they're worried about the health of the rivers. Why don't we get them to help? And then that's how it started. The way we work with community groups in local areas is we engage with local partners in those regions. So in Cairns here, we work with CAFNEC, who are the Cairns and Far North Environment Centre, and they coordinate the program, they get the volunteers involved, they have a wide group of people, a network in the local community. So by engaging community groups to collect useful scientific data, you're not only getting data that informs the science, you're then feeding back education and information. And it's a two-way exchange then. That's why we call it a partnership, a community science partnership. Because by giving people that information, sharing that information with people, you're educating them, you're empowering them to make change, and you're creating environmental stewards for their local environment. So MangroveWatch is, we're developing a tool called ShoreView, which will be like Google Street View for shorelines, which means that all that video imagery that the community is collecting will be online. People can just drop down, they're interested in Trinity Inlet, right here, they could drop down, have a look at that bit of shoreline there, and see all the images that have been collected in that place, and see how it's changed, and then look at the data as well. French territories, there's obviously mangroves in New Caledonia and those places, that if people are travelling to those places, they can get involved with mangrove research there if they like. There's University of Noumea has very nice mangrove research programs. But at a personal level, I think, like I mentioned, that doing things to stop climate change, I think, is the #1 issue that everyone can do. Just switching off the lights or not using as much petrol and being more sustainable with how you use all your products and all your resources will help solve climate change. and that is the biggest threat facing mangroves.